Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report. Today is September 1st, 2016. Welcome to September. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. I left the key levels up right here. You can see we have a recent key level range that takes us up to 87s, down as low as 21.58 halves. And then we have a midpoint here about 73s. You can see prices trading around that right now. We also have a very important 50% expansion level here at 21.88 half. We knew 88 halves were our important level up here to reach. We finally reached them, and then we could not see further expansion. And since then, we've kind of seen trading range action take place. Right here, I mean, it's really, again, we're heading toward the holiday extended weekend here. We're going to see decreased volatility, decreasing volumes throughout the week. Non-farm payroll is still on the board. That's Friday morning. That could provide a little bit of a spark here, but you got to be very, very careful right now. We could be, we're right at the center of a trading range that has developed here. There's never any edge in that zone. It's much safer to wait for something to come out to the extreme. So right now, you just got to be patient and see how this thing continues to play out. If we look at the intraday time frame for the ES, okay, here you go. You can see the first thing that happened here this morning is price rallied into the previous session's high price, went above it, and failed. Failed a couple of times here to get established, went offered through VWAP, came back to VWAP, and is being defended again for new lows. So that implies at least a retest of the previous session's close price. That's going to be 68 half. 67 quarter is the previous week's close, which is a very important price level. So right now, the fact that prices went offered at the previous high implies a retest of the close. Should price go offered through the close, you're likely going to get a retest of the previous session's low at 59 half. All right, let's take a look here at crude oil now. All right, here's crude oil. It's a daily time frame. This one continues to show weakness here, significant weakness. You can see we had a key range off of that big rejection day here, and the 100% target was reached, and not only was it reached, it was far surpassed. So that range played out very, very nicely. A lot of very important moves came off of it. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. We do have a larger key range, and this is the one we were talking about yesterday in the trading room, which is 45.91 from this larger range. And I said that's probably the most important level on the chart here, because if that level goes offered, that's going to be another time when prices could not hold back above that level. And the last time that happened, we saw a significant move downward. So in failing to hold that level, it also took these areas offered. We knew that was likely going to be the case for 45s, and now price pushed and closed through 45 is now retesting it from below. So this thing continues to show some signs of weakness here. The next zone down perhaps could be the 43.45s, 43.50s. We also have a lot of key levels here in the way of 43.03. That's 50% expansion from this key range. You have 42.60 as a key level, and 42s as a key level in addition to the FOMC. So we have a lot of key levels down here to watch out for. At the moment, this thing continues to be bearish as long as bears continue to defend 45s. Here's the intraday time frame. And what you notice here is just that price went offered here at VWAP early in pre-market this morning. Defense at that level was rejected. Secondary defense just near it was rejected. So right now we have a downtrending market in crude oil. You can see the very clear channel that is developed. That doesn't mean it's going to persist the entire day that way, but it just shows you what's happening now. 44.52 is very important. That's the previous session's low. Right now you can see price got below it and it's holding below it for the first time throughout the day. So that's going to be very important. If price pops back above 44.52 and begins to hold it as support, you could see a move back up, back toward 45 and perhaps even higher. Any failure to see any acceptance back above this 44.52 implies another leg of weakness. So keep an eye on 44.52. Could be a very important level today. Here's a look at gold futures. The previous session, what we saw was price drop into 1306.90, and then from there proceeded to bounce very, very nicely back toward 1314s and beyond. It eventually began to give up some of that area and closed back below the session's midpoint. One thing we were talking about in the trading room is the fact that price got to that level and saw the immediate rejection was very nice. You want to see that. But with this being the final day of August and today being the first day of September, what I mentioned was you'd likely see the market go down there and take out last month's lows, which is yesterday's lows, to see what they're made of and to see what those 1306s, if they can continue to withstand. If so, this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4 day attempt to reverse. So I still think that right now the primary idea is to watch for buy opportunities in 1306 zone for a shot at returning these prices back to 1360 to 1370. So it could be a 50 to 60 handle move. Any failure to hold 1306, so if this thing breaks way through it and closes way below it, or however that may play out, could be significant because there's nothing standing in the way of the next two key levels, which is 1252 and 1208. All right, let's take a look now at the NQ. Here's the NQ. It's got all of our key levels. The NQ is very similar to the ES right now. It's just really not a whole lot of life to it. Very, very tightly coiled price action. This is among the tightest that we've seen in history. To be this tight, for 4 or 5 weeks straight, it's virtually unprecedented. And that tells you something. It tells you the market is just checked out for right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. You got Fed uncertainty, which is always the case, but they've been accommodating for years. You have presidential uncertainty coming up with the election, so it's just a wait and see type of pattern right now. But as Labor Day comes back around, you're going to see more volume come through into mid-September, and that's going to spark a little bit more volatility. So the volatility will come, but this pattern right now, again, being at the center of this range just does not do you any good. No great edge in that zone. There is a little bit of a rounded off pattern to it, along with that support at 47.60. That could foretell some selling pressure, again, back toward 46.80 to 46.90. So just keep that in mind. 48s right here have been a big-time area for rejections. The market's been allergic to that level ever since it went offered through that zone in late August there, a week ago or so. So if we drop into the intraday time frame here. All right, here we are. Right away, you see that prices rallied this morning, early rally here. That took you through the previous session's high, which is this price here, and into the 50% PivotBoss pivot right there. We rejected off that level back to the weekly close, and that's where we're trading right now. So that's just a little bit about where it's at in the chart. This is the weekly pivot range right here. So the price went below the previous week's low, rallied back to the close, and into the pivot range, and is being rejected again, at least initially. And that's where it went rejected. It chopped around the pivot range earlier in the week before it sold off and eventually got to these lows. Well, right now it just went back into the weekly pivot range and is rejecting. So that's something to keep in mind. But the main level here to watch continues to be the previous week's close. So continue to watch that level very closely. That's going to be 47.83 quarter. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck and trade well.